two two people in, so I believe that others will join a bit late. Yesterday we had a beautiful presentation from Gocheling, who was focusing on branding. So I think how we started is like I think it's a great plan that we started with the branding. I wasn't sure when I was setting up the times whether branding should come after, or but I believe that it was good how they've been set up. So today we are going to dive into how to build our social media platforms so that we can have our beautiful work well presented on social media platforms. You can take over, Abigail.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Good evening. It's evening here. I'm sure we're like 1 hour ahead of you guys. Nice to meet you, Priska and Nkosi. That's the name I can pronounce, by the way. Hi, hi. Okay, so thanks for the opportunity, Portia. I really do appreciate this. I remember when you texted me, I was like, whoa, 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 yeah, I'm pumped for this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would before we start, I would like everybody to unmute and maybe just like a little intro, since we're not a lot. Just give me your name and tell me what business that you do, or if you're about to start a business, just let me know who you are. Are we
Okay,
are we
I'll go first.
okay?
My name is Phumzile Nkosi, based in South Africa, Vosloorus. Um, I'd say I'm a vast person creative, but currently I'm focusing on sewing. I'm doing mini tote bags and mini box bags and a little bit of crocheting bucket hats. That's what I'm
Okay,
currently
that's
focusing on.
fantastic. Okay,
Thank you.
all right, that's great. Thank you. We have Priska here. Priska, are you with us? Okay, so since she's not here, we'll just go ahead to move on to the topic of today. If you can, I hope you guys can hear me, and I hope my accent is understandable. Yeah. So I'm going to be sharing my screen now. Let me share my screen. Let's see. Sorry about that. Uh, for some reason, I can't. Have you given me access, Portia? Portia, can you hear me?
Yes, I have given you access. I've turned into a co-host. You must be able to. Let me just check.
Okay, I think I can. I might need to share the entire screen though. Okay. All right, let's do this.
Okay, there we go. I think
So
I
you
can
can
see
see my
your
screen?
screen.
Okay, that's great. So I made this quickly on Canva. So yeah, let's
Okay.
run through. So today we're going to be talking about how to start social media. Basically, it's a starter kit for someone who does, a small business and is probably clueless on how to start. Everything is just seeming like a lot in the moment, and that's very much understandable. So yeah, let's get right into it. This is supposed to literally help you move from being a business owner into someone whose default setting is content. Because as a business owner, the best thing you could do for yourself is to be able to create basically good content that gets people to trust you, right? So yeah, the first thing I would like to say is storytelling is the most important thing. Storytelling is the most important thing in the sense that the way you tell your story gets people to trust you, right? As a business owner, people don't just want to hear, oh, please, I sell this bag for 200. 1,000 naira or $200. Let's use dollars because it's universal, right? They want to hear. I was sitting in my kitchen one day and I came across a material that could make a unique bag. I made this bag out of nylons, and this is what it took to get, 25 pieces of nylons to make this bag. Do you understand that? So now they've connected to the fact that you saw something, you saw the usefulness of that thing, you created a scenario for them, and you carry them through the process, right? So people connect through stories. They're not just buying your products, they're buying the stories, they're buying the people, because once someone likes you, they trust you. And when they trust you, they definitely can give you their money, right? So that's why we know that content, social media presence is totally worth it, right? So the next thing is you need to share the why behind your work. You need to share the why. Like I said before, it's not about, this is what I sell. It's not about the what. It's not that, oh, I'm a construction manager. A construction manager, what makes you different from the other construction managers that I know, basically, right? So it has to be why. Why did I start this? For example, I sell perfumes currently. This is a real life example. I started selling perfumes last year, right? Before that, I'd done a business, and trust me, it didn't go well. It didn't go well at all. And I said I wasn't going to do business. Maybe business is not for me, right? Now, me sharing that with my audience makes them feel like they know me. It gives them some sort of connection to the person behind the brand. And my cook could be that, oh, I sucked at business, so I said I'll never try again. Somebody that is a business person or is thinking of diving into business, or it's just a random person scrolling, would get captivated by that text itself and might want to listen to me. Now, I now begin to explain why. And then my perfume business, to be honest, I started it because I needed an extra source of income. That was like the main reason, but also because I started getting obsessed with scents. I started wanting to smell good. I loved smelling people that smelled good. Like I would walk up to you and be excited to share that. Oh, okay, you smell really good. What do you use? Do you get? So it became something of a passion for me. At the same time, something that I could monetize. So I don't want to sell that I sell perfumes. I want to sell that I can help you change your aura, right? I want to sell that when you step into a room, I can, turn heads. I can make you turn heads because I know exactly what suits you. You don't have to use the perfumes that would scream, I'm here, but then you could do something really good that people would come close to you and want to ask you questions. So now in that moment, I'm selling the emotions, I'm selling the feeling. And the best way to do that is to tell stories. Right. So another thing you need to know about stories is for you to, for someone to really understand, like they said, communication is a two-way street. That's the same thing with engagement, right? If I'm telling you a story, right, you might not understand, you might have questions, you might have comments. I need to be in it with you. I need to be there to reply to comments. I need to be there to, ask you questions as well, to start conversations as well. That's how it works. Then also, when you tell a story, you're not just going to put captions and then disappear. Your caption has to invite a response. For example, I share a day in my life at a beach. And what I do is I sell beach bags, right? But I want to infuse my product into that content. And then I share a day in my life doing that, right? At the end of the day, what do you want me to do with that content? What is the call to action? What are the captions? Like, do I want other people to watch that and share how it feels to be on the beach on a rainy day? What response do I want from that? So you have to evoke some sort of response as well. And your most powerful content is your most personal content. I cannot overemphasize that. The reason why I'm saying that is because anytime you push content, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but if you push out content that is very personal, something that maybe not everybody knows about you, you tend to see that people want to. Let me just tell you, people are just nosy. These internet people, social media people, they're literally just nosy. They want to be in your space. They want to know what you're doing. They want to know what you eat. They want to know who your boyfriend is. So the moment you maybe show the leg of your boyfriend a little bit in that content, everybody's, engaging, right? So yeah, try to be as personal and authentic as possible because that drives people to connect to you more. Like I said, stories will help them connect. You are targeting their emotions. You're not targeting selling them products. You are targeting getting them to feel some sort of way about your product or about your service. Is that clear? I want to know if I can move on to the next slide, which is us starting fully now. Are we good to move? Okay, thank you, Portia. All right, so we're moving on to building your social media presence. Building your social media presence. What I would say is before you start social media, you need to evaluate who your target audience is, where you likely find them, what are their interests, right? So, still using the perfume sample, I wanted us to, give the businesses that we're doing so that I could use that as a sample, right? So maybe in the chat box, if you can drop a business you do, we could use that as a sample. But for now, I would just use mine, right? So I have a perfume business. My target audience can be anybody, literally, because everybody deserves to smell nice. Even children smell nice. I could decide to focus on kids. I could do teenagers. I could do just anybody, right? So 18 to, let's even say from like 5 years old or 6 years old, because they have like kids perfume, 6 to like 100, right? So it's a very huge target audience for me. Unless I'm specializing in maybe male or female or kids or teenagers, I have a very wide audience to choose from. Where would I likely find them? That is literally on every social media platform. So I could find them on LinkedIn, I could find them on WhatsApp, I could find them on TikTok, wherever they are there, right? So as a business owner, the first thing you need to do is know your target audience. Try to identify the platforms that you can find them. Pick those platforms, right? Pick those platforms. Sorry about that. I'm trying to. Okay, can everybody still hear me? Please unmute and let me know you can hear me.
Yes, we're here. We can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. I had to close the smaller tab so I could see the screen properly. Okay, so yeah, you have to pick platforms where they are, right? It doesn't have to be everywhere. That's what you need to understand. Because I said my target audience is really wide, doesn't mean I have to be on every platform. Currently, I only have Instagram and TikTok. In fact, Instagram has taken off my account, so now I only have TikTok, but my target audience is there, so I can focus on that. Now, you need to set up your profile like a landing page. Your profile is not somewhere where you want to confuse people. Your profile is not the place to show that you speak the most English. Your profile is somewhere where people just click on it and they understand exactly what you do. It's like your landing page. If you've ever seen a website landing page, for example, you go to Jumia. When you go to Jumia, you can tell that they sell items. You don't go to Jumia and then see something about a church and then another thing about newspapers. You don't get confused. You need to be able to identify what this person does. I come into your profile. I need to see your bio clear as day. I sell affordable luxury perfumes. I am located in Nigeria, right? I'm not saying you should write it like that, but then I'm telling you the information they will need. They need to see your location. They need to see the exact thing you do. They need to see your delivery rate. They need to even see reviews on how you do that. They need to see links. If they need to be redirected to a website, the link should be there. In no case should someone come to your DM and be asking questions. There's some confused questions that you know that if someone asks you that question, just know that you're doing something wrong as a business owner. If somebody comes, you sell bags and shoes, and then somebody comes up and says, "How can I buy from you?" There's already a problem because there's no direct link to your WhatsApp for them to just go there directly, or maybe there's some sort of confusion there. So you need to identify that problem. Your profile photo can be your logo. It could be, something around what you do, something that basically represents your brand. Moving on to the next, I would say that you need to learn how to, decide that you are consistent on two platforms. So it's better to be consistent on two or three platforms than to be everywhere and be confused, right? Go deep. It's about the depth, it's not about the width. It's about how much value you're giving on those platforms, how much content, how much products you're selling on those platforms. It's not about, oh, I want to be here, 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 here. Yeah, there's space to expand, but like that should be after you've done in depth on the ones that you're focused on. Then also consistency. I'm struggling with something currently. Instagram took down my account and I don't even know why till today. The reason was very, very flimsy. And for some reason, I can't get that same handle. I've tried. I mean, I opened a new one and they took it down. So it's obvious that I cannot use that handle anymore. But my TikTok has it. My branded bags have that already. So what do I do in that situation? I have to make sure that it's very similar or I rebrand totally. Because if I go somewhere and I tell someone my name is Aura by Abby and they go to Instagram and they're not seeing Aura by Abby, but on TikTok is there, it can be really confusing for them. So make sure that your handles, your username across all these platforms, it's the same or very, very similar. If there's going to be a difference, maybe, punctuation marks and stuff like that. All right. Also, your presence should answer one question. In fact, two questions, right? What do you do? Like I said before, your presence on social media, if they see your page right now, it must be able to answer this is what this person does, right? And it must also be able to answer who is this person selling to, right? So if I come to your page, I should know what you do and I should know if I'm your target audience. If I'm not your target audience, I move. But then if I can identify your target audience by coming to your page, I might not be your target audience, but I could share you to somebody who would be your target audience. Does that make sense? So yes, let's move on to the next page. This is quite simple. I made it as clear as day for a reason. What are the strategies that makes it easy? First thing is, you're a small business owner. You have no business thinking about getting a camera first, especially when you are like a small business owner by the typicality of that word. That means you are low on funds to an extent. You're just starting. You shouldn't be thinking of a camera. Start with your phone. Start with your phone, right? But the next 4 steps I'm going to give you would make it easy for you. Will make it easy for you to connect to your audience. And I'll start with saying you have to batch create. Batch creation means that I've decided that every month, as a small business owner who sells bags, I want to post, 15 times in that month. If I'm going to post this 15 times in that month, and 4 of those posts are graphic designs, the other 11 are supposed to be videos, I have to shoot them. I can decide to shoot them all in one day or in 2 days. So the first day I shoot 5, the other day I shoot 6. And when I'm editing, I shoot, I edit 3 at a time, 2 at a time. I just don't do one to give me that, to give me that intensity, the freedom, the flexibility to do other things, right? Because it can be really taxing starting a business and then still trying to manage social media, especially when you don't have a social media manager, right? If you have the money for it, by all means get a social media manager, but it's still going to be good to have an idea of how everything works before you even push it on to someone else. So batch create, shoot your content. Like you have to ideate for those contents, have a content calendar, ideate for those contents. We have AIs, we have ChatGPT, we have Claude, we have DeepSeek, we have a lot of AIs. They make it very easy right now. So you create those topics. If you need a script, if it's a talking head video, do your script. If it's going to be maybe a video that is just showing a product or a service, then as well prepare for that. Make sure your lighting is on check, make sure your sound is on check, and all of that. So you batch create, and then you need to understand content pillars. There are a lot of content pillars now. There are also some I see and I'm like, oh wow, that's a content pillar. I never knew. It keeps coming up all the time, but the very 3 important ones are what you can see on your screen right now. You need to be able to educate. People don't want to just come there and buy a bottle of drink from you. They need to know about that drink. I used to work at a yogurt company as a content creator, and whilst a lot of people see that they are, that the back of a product, you might see, oh, it contains 40 grams of protein, this grams of, people don't read that. Most people don't, except people that are very intentional about what they eat, right? So in my content, I want to be able to push that in a way that, oh, even if you don't read that thing, I can say to you in a video and it's easier for you to understand. So they will tell you that per every serving of that yogurt, you get maybe 30 grams of protein. So if you take 5 servings, right, you're getting 150 grams of protein. So if you're trying to gain weight, that's what you should be taking. You should know that your calories have to be up, right? So it has to be educative. If you sell a bag, if you sell a purse, if you sell healthy food, tell them why they need to buy from you. It still aligns with informing them. Informing them can come in different phases, where you're informing them about the price, you're informing them about, who they should use it for, who they should buy it for. It could be different, but like, make sure your educative content is on check. Make sure your promotion content is on check. Now, the expressions of all these content pillars could come in different ways. It could be entertainment. When somebody is dancing to a trend on TikTok, they can still be educating someone. I don't know. I think I'm speaking to a South African audience, but there's this doctor we have in Nigeria. It's called a Aproko doctor. He's the funniest doctor ever, but at the same time, he's passing the right information. He's catered to, okay, let me put it this way. His target audience, right, is people who are poor, who don't have access to good medical care, but at least they have Android phones and they have internet, right? So what he does is he talks about how you can prevent some sicknesses, how when to know when it's grievous and you need to go to the hospital, right? So He makes sure that people understand it in the most simplest way, and then he's always adding humor to his post. So you can say, Inkechi, I know sex is sweet, but do you know that HIV will kill you? You know, there's a way he would twist it. Will kill you faster than your ex. Do you understand? So, like, it will capture your attention. It would seem brought down to your level, right? So, it could be an expression, it could be entertainment, it could be engaging, it could be informative, it could be authority building. There are lots of content pillars. You might need to do a research on that by yourself, but all these things come together and they're important. If you have that, yeah, like 25% on your way to having good content, because there's still going to be the part where you shoot and the part where you edit, and all these things are supposed to go on your social media. Show your process. If you're someone that creates something from scratch, let people see how you create it. I'm not saying you should give them all your tips. For example, you're a baker, you now show them the full recipe. No, that's not what I'm saying. But you can show them in bits how you mix, and then you move on to put in the oven. They don't need to see your secret ingredients, in summary, but you can show your process. Also, repurpose your ideas. There are content that you post, and sometimes you don't expect them to do so well, but they do really well. And when they do really well like that, it's very likely that there are multiple ways to tell that story. There are multiple ways to regenerate that idea. And if you did that as a video before, you could do it as a carousel. Those slides that you see that are very, very catchy on Instagram, on Pinterest, right? So you could do it as a carousel, just refurbish it in a text way and use it on Twitter or use it on Threads, right? You could also decide to, make it a funny skit instead of a talking head video. You could also decide to still use it as a video, but then in a new way, like deliver it in a new way, or have someone else deliver it on your team. So these strategies can help you to stay connected. You don't run out of ideas and you stay on check. Please let me know if you can hear me and you understand everything that I've been saying.
We are with you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're moving on to marketing with limited resources. How do you market with limited resources? Typically, if you're just starting a business, your funds are going towards, restocking your goods, you're investing into yourself to be able to do or create a product or a service or whatever, right? So you're kind of low on funds if we're being realistic, unless you are like a different type of SME, right? So you start with free tools. You don't rush. Don't just go and pay for stuff. Explore what you can do with the free tools. Because I know a lot of people just say, oh, I don't have a camera, that's why I can't start. Oh, I don't have a mic. When I started as a content creator, I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't even know content was a thing that could pay me. I would probably just sit down in front of the camera or text something that I just thought made sense. Right? For a long time, I didn't buy my mic. I bought my mic in 2020. Someone is muted, Portia. Portia.
Hi Esther. Hi Esther. Can you mute yourself, please?
In a noisy environment, I can't hear you. Maybe when I get to the house, I'll join.
Can you mute yourself, please? Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's fine. So like I said, you're probably low on funds and you're thinking of how to, maximize this. There are free tools. Canva has a free version. CapCut has a free version. You can get decent content from those places. Google Forms, Meta Business Suite is totally free. That's used to monitor your Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp, all of that. Use the free versions before you start pushing your money into ads, right? Before you get to the point where you do ads, there are different phases you need to cross. You need to cross the awareness phase. People need to be aware of your content, right? Educate them, dance if you have to, do anything you have to do before you get there. Lead generation, right? From that, let's see if people are interested in what you're doing before you run into ads. So you're doing brand awareness, you're doing traffic before you're doing lead generation, and then you're actually doing like a proper sales or lead magnet ad, right? So make sure you're using the free versions of CapCut, Canva. Another thing people do is they come together. Business owners, for example, now we've created a community out of this. Everybody here can come on and then put money together and do a pro account, and everybody has access to it, right? Just do it for people that you trust so you don't get scammed. So free tools that would work as much as possible. We also have collaborations. You can collaborate instead of doing paid ads. I do that with my clients where I tell them, okay, we're going to look out for people that have interest in what we sell. And we're going to reach out to them and we're going to give them a free product or a free service and then ask them to give us their honest feedback. Not everybody's going to agree. Some of these creators want to get paid because that's their 9 to 5, that's their full-time job rather. But then there are people that would also be willing to work with you, that would be willing to trust your brand. So before you go ahead to say, oh, I want to offer you 100K because you're a celebrity or $100,000 to do this video for us, be open to even doing it with smaller creators. Micro influencers might be overpriced. Use nano influencers, the smaller ones, the ones that have under 10,000, followers reach and conversion rates, right? Because you can do that. You can decide to give each of them free product and use 10 of them, and then you tap into their audience. You can decide to use them and then pay them lesser than you naturally pay one influencer, right? But before you even get to the point where you're talking money, talk collaborations first. Talk collaborations. That your friend that buys from you, tell her to buy and repost and to do a video or to take a picture of herself wearing that, collection, wearing that shoe. So there has to be collaboration. You also have to make sure that you're partnering with smaller businesses, smaller creators as well. Like I said, smaller business in the sense that I sell, clothing items, and then I find another business person that sells shoes. We can come together and have a package, this full outfit. So we're selling a beach dress and this particular sandals, and it's going for this price and it's discounted. It's a fusion of arts, the two businesses, and we decide to push that as content. All right, so make sure that you're thinking collaborations all the time. Also, user-generated content. I'm trying to be time cautious, sorry. User-generated content, like I said, I think I already explained that in passing. You give someone a product or a service and tell them to do content for you. It's free marketing. The person does not have to be popular, right? So even when they do it with creators, they'll tell you don't have to have 1,000 followers. You just need to have like clear videos and an authentic way of telling the story, and then just encourage them to post. And they're getting that stuff for free. So yeah, it's a win-win for everybody, basically. Also, one strong post per week is better than doing 7-week posts. So do not. So I used to work with someone who rushes and then she posts 13 times in a day. I wasn't the social media manager, I was the content creator. It wasn't telling directly on me via posting, but it was crazy because I was shooting multiple content in a month. I would have to shoot up to, maybe only me would have to shoot like 50 content. Sometimes it was unrealistic, right? So it's not about just pushing content. That your content has to be quality, tells a story, connects them to the feeling, like I said before, and then converts them into paying customers. So you cannot be out there posting weak stuff, right? You have to, even if it's just one strong post. I would advise that if you're a small business owner, try 3 times a week instead of doing, I want to post every day. You get to a point where you see that, you have a lot more flexibility, or you can hire hands, then you can decide to do, I want to post every day. You can hop on a challenge. That's great. But it's better for you to have one quality stuff than to be out there doing nonsense, right? So also know your numbers. Know your numbers. What is my reach? Meta has made it so easy. If you click up there, you would see your reach, you would see your saves, you see your shares, you have your analytics on check. Last week I was trying to do a report for YouTube, and normally I would sit down and try to do calculations because I have the calculations of how to get, metrics, right? So instead of doing that, I just saw that AI has been infused to YouTube, and I just went there and asked, okay, based on, my current, documents I showing on the screen, can you calculate this for me? And it gave me the exact percentage. I checked, it worked, right? So yeah, AI makes it easy, but even if you don't know how to use AI, there are ways where you can check. If you're having issues with that, you can always text me. I think Portia can hand out my number to you. You can always text me with your problems after. Yeah, let's move to content flow. This is pretty simple. Story, reels, carousels. What do carousels do? They are more text-based, right? And they come in slides. It's usually used to educate people, to carry people on a journey, but without showing your face or videos or whatever that, right? So carousels are for values. Is to show the value that you're bringing, is to give people more insight about what they think they fully understand when there's a lot more that they can understand. I hope I'm not going too fast. Okay. So yeah, there's also reels. Reels are the trending thing. Like everybody wants to do reels right now. Everybody wants to spark emotions. Everybody wants to record or document their moments. They want to keep it in highlights. That's what reels are for. And stories just show that you're daily, like you're present every day or regularly. I don't do a lot of stories on my business page, but on my personal page, there's no day that goes. It's very rare to get a day go by that I don't post a story, even if it's not my post, it's something that I believe in or something that I've read that makes sense to me. I'm pushing it out every day. Instagram sees that you're active every day. The more active you are, the more people engage on your pages, the more reach that you get. That's how the algorithm works. The algorithm pushes content that is good, content that people respond to. It also pushes people that come consistently. The reason why I can say that is if you go on a 30-day challenge today and you decide to post the most random things on your personal page, just try it out for a second. I want to post the most random thing every day for 30 days. I want people to see my mind. You would see that your reach would increase because you're showing up every day, right? And you're posting something. Even if you don't do it on your page, do it on your story, you'll see some sort of shift, right? So yeah, this is how your content should flow. You need to have a story. And when you have that story, you can convert it into a reel. And later on, maybe after a few months, if it does well, you can also convert into a carousel. What's the essence of this carousel, this particular slide, is to tell you that you can have one story, but you can have it in multiple formats. You can have it as a reel, as a carousel, as a tweet, whatever, right? For example, these slides I'm sharing with you, I can definitely go to a different, although I changed my slides, but I could go to a different webinar and use it again because really the content, the value doesn't change. It's just the packaging that changes. Right. So yeah, audience relationship, connection over numbers. This is something that is always a very hard pill for business owners to swallow. They want to see the numbers, they want to see the likes, they want to see the shares, they want to brag to their friends that they've gone viral. They also want to say, oh, this post I've made has made me so much money, has made me this amount. But sometimes it's not always like that. What I'm trying to sell to you right now is the strength of community on social media. If you grow a loyal community, they will do anything that you want them to do. They will be so loyal that if you decide that you want to start selling a part of your skin, they probably will buy it without questioning it. It's almost, see, community can be almost cult-like. It's like having your own cults. And the person that they hold in reference is you. The person that they would do anything for is you. And these are going to be strangers. These are people that are not your family. Sometimes they're not even your friends. They just like you. And because they've bought into your story, they've bought into what you're selling, right? The solution you're bringing. Because, for example, I want to sell a drug. And I'm saying, oh, I'm selling this drug. And this drug is for fibroid patients. Most Black Nigerian women, some of like a good percentage of us struggle with fibroids. And we know what it is. Now, if you sell it from a perspective of healthy living and how healthy living, starting from what you eat into your body, can change your whole scenario, can prevent fibroids from growing, can shrink fibroids. You sell that with a story that sells freedom. Because any woman that has fibroids knows that it comes with pain, knows that it comes with bleeding, knows that it comes with a lot of things. Now you're picking their pain points and you are focusing on that and telling them how you're going to get rid of that pain for them or how you're going to make that pain better. Now, what you're building is not just followers, right? They don't just follow you for that reason. They become your community. If you want more instances, I can take a more extensive class on this, but if you have questions, send me a DM, like I said. But your community really matters. It matters way more than your followers. You need to be able to build conversations. When people can talk to you, they come to your comment and they get a response. It's more impactful than just having likes. These days, I even tell people that likes doesn't really mean, I don't want to cost, but like doesn't mean a lot. What even matters is saves. You see, saves and shares, those two functions on social media, they are very, very important, way more important than the likes and the comments you get. Comments is good. Comments shows that people like your stuff, right? They are engaging. Oh yeah, that's great. But like, you need to get people to save it. Save it shows that, oh, what you're saying makes so much sense that I had to save it. I had to save it because I know I'm going to definitely come back to this. You're giving me so much value, right? Sharing means that I'm telling them that, oh, this is so good. I don't want to hold on to it alone. I have a friend that is in need of this. I have people that I need to show this to. And it could be in the craziest ways. It could be in the craziest forms, right? Because it could be that what you're showing is so funny that they want their friends to see it. And because you're selling it through a funny way, right? There's still something you're selling regardless. A lot of skit makers do their comedy and still sell for a brand, right? So when they share that, you're pushing your brand as well, right? So saves and shares to me, more important. Community matters more than followers. It's called like people will be so loyal to you. Focus on people, not the metrics. The metrics will come later when you have the people, right? So we're moving on. Slide 8. We have, I think, 2 more to do. Please unmute. Sorry, mute your mic if you're the one. Yes, thank you very much. Growth without pressure. Do not put pressure on yourself, right? Consistency without burnout. You're showing up, but in a way that is comfortable for you, that you don't get tired, you don't get too pressured, right? I want you to take every day as it goes, right? While you have a calendar to follow, you don't need to post every day. It's not totally necessary. Consistency is not about showing up 12 times a day or 8 times a week. Consistency is not stopping, right? Not giving up on something, not staying in that place because you feel like you have failed. I am the biggest example of this for myself because I know there are times Instagram is still doing a lot of things to my account. I keep getting followed and unfollowed, followed and unfollowed. But I've convinced my mind to take note of that's a personal brand. It's still something that sells because I have like 3 brands. The creative safe house, that's the one that has to do with content, social media, then the perfume brand, and then this my personal brand, Abitoka. And the crazy part is that it's something I still want to sell. So if I'm worried about my followers, if I'm worried about my likes, if I'm worried about my comments, I would stop. I would generally just be sad and stop doing it. But I've decided to grow without pressure. I've decided to control the numbers that I can control, right? So when I say control the numbers that I can control, I'm talking about the numbers like, you know, how many times I post. That's what I can control. I can control how many times I decide to show up consistently, how many times I decide to focus on my social media presence. I can't control, maybe to an extent, I can't fully control my followers. I can't fully control my likes. The best I can do is put out good content, learn from my mistakes, right? But the algorithm still does this thing. So you don't need to post every day to show that you're consistent. You just need to not stop. If you're posting 3 times, if you're posting 3 times and you go in another 3 times, make sure that you don't stop at it. There's also sustainable content. It beats false content. Right. Don't force yourself to do any content that you know that yeah, you need to leave your let's say you need to leave your box sometimes. Think outside the box. I even like to say, don't even just think outside the box, think like there's no box. All right, that's what you should do. But make sure that you build something so sustainable that it carries you for a longer time. So you're not forcing yourself to do it. Right. Please your mic, please mute your mic, whoever that is. Thank you. Okay, don't worry, I'll soon be done. There's also a place for healthy creators create better work, right? As a business owner, put yourself in positions where you get to rest. So when you do content and you're batch creating, it gives you time to rest. So instead of focusing 1 hour on doing 5 different videos, prepare your content ahead. Be so prepared with your calendar, with your scripts, with all of that, your setup, and whoever is going to help you, right? Do that and then repeat that process. So it gives you like time to rest because when you're resting, that's like your most creative period. When you hear creators say that they take a break from social media, from the internet, it's because they need to get themselves back. Because if their minds are not fully working, they can't juice out everything. They can't give you the sweetest chunk ever, right? So there's that. Then branding and consistency online. So this is where it gets tricky. This is where it gets really tricky. And I'm hoping that the speaker from yesterday covered. I'm hoping that she covered a lot of this. I'm going to have to hope that Portia recorded that. So you have to go with your brand. You get to a point where you know that your logos cannot be random. Your logos have to be an expression of what you do as a brand. Your logos have to be really good. Like invest in your logos because that's probably what's going to take you for a long period of time. Imagine you start a business in 3 months and you blow up and then you have a shitty logo, right? So you have to have an amazing logo. You have to pick out brand colors. I don't want to come to your page. I know I started working with a brand and I was confused. Even till now, I'm still confused because I keep telling them, right? They used green and gold in their logo, but you see them wear branded t-shirts and then you see blue, you see red, you see white, you see yellow, you see green, and I'm like, okay, these other colors, where did they come from? I'm not saying you have to pick 1 or 2 colors. There's something called primary colors, and then so what's the name for primary colors, secondary colors, or accent colors. Yeah, you can call them accent colors, right? So if I'm picking white, if I'm picking green and yellow like they did, the colors that are neutrals that would naturally go with it will be white and black. And then if I want to pick something, I have to pick something really pastel. I have to pick something like nude. Please mute your mic. Thank you. Let's pick something like nude because that goes well. It could go well with designs and all of that. So make sure that you pick those colors and get their color code so that whenever you're making a design or you're giving a graphic designer, it stays consistent. One thing that people don't want to see is when they come on your page and they're seeing too many colors all over the place, too many icons all over the place. Be simple. Simple is best because in the next 5 years, 10 years, people can refer back to that and still feel like this is a cool design. So you don't want to be out there too much unless it's like a major campaign, right? There's also your tone. Your tone, the tone of your voice should be the same. If you're going to sound like a goofy auntie who is telling women how to take care of their bodies, that tone can stay consistent because people might end up falling in love with that tone. So make sure that your tone is consistent. How you have to even train AI if you're going to use AI because you have to train AI to sound like you, right? You have to know how I naturally would sound in my text and then just key to that. There's also create a simple content template so your feed looks intentional. If you know that you are struggling with making designs on Canva, I bet you I'm one of those people that I do not like to edit content. I have to. I just do it by force. I also do not like to make designs so much unless on a good day, right? So if you know that you are not so good at making graphic designs, get a template and then just tweak a little bit of things here and there, and then it gives your space or your page some sort of uniformity. It shows that this is intentional. This person is particularly picking on some particular colors. This person is playing with some particular fonts. Fonts is also very important. Then you don't see them putting too much of this and that here and there, right? So your font has to be intentional. Write the names of your fonts. You could have 3, 4 fonts that you work with and just stick to that. Same thing with your color or your brand palette and the voice, the tone. So it gets so good that when your tone is noticed, right? When you bring a social media manager on, if people respond to that tone, you can teach the person, you can, onboard the person using that tone so much that the person begins to sound like you. Like when the person now writes something, they won't be able to tell if it's the CEO that wrote this because that doesn't become the CEO's voice. It becomes, Abigail's voice, right? Or by Abby's voice, the perfume brand's voice. They forget about me and they connect to the brand. Right. So consistency builds trust, like I said before, and trust builds sales. You want to sell, stay consistent. And if you're going to stop at it, then yeah, well, someone else will come and stay consistent and sell what you were failing to sell. Right. So stay consistent, it builds trust, and then trust helps you to now build sales. Finally, I would say that you don't need to be perfect, you need to be recognizable. You don't need to be perfect. I've seen a lot of content creators, I've seen a lot of brands that do the most in fact they are very neglecting of their page. Let me put it that way. They don't care how it looks exactly, but they are consistent and people can recognize them, and that can still count for something. While it's not the best way, it's still like a way that helps them to be recognized by people, right? So you have to make sure that you are not seeking for perfection so much that it stops you from doing what you have to do. Show up. The crazy part about this thing is if social media has not really been hacked, it has been hacked by some people to an extent, but it can never be totally fully hacked, right? I'm putting totally and fully because I need to emphasize, right? It cannot be totally hacked because things are changing day by day, right? So if you say you're not going to do it because you want to be perfect, then you might never ever do it. Like you might never get to the point where you do it. So you have to do what you can. You would pick on your corrections. You'd be surprised. Some people would text you and say, "Oh, next time don't do it like this. Next time you're sharing a design, please attach your link to it." Maybe you never knew before, but now someone has told you. Someone might sit and then buy into your story because you watch movies and then their packages might not be good, their cameras might not be of the best quality, but the storyline is so good that you are seated there, you want to finish that movie, right? And there are people that are intentional about stories or intentional about you beating their pain points, right? So they will stay there with you, and they might correct you if they become so loyal, and that's how you build a community as well. So yeah, thank you very much. I would summarize by saying create, live, and share. This sounds personal, but then your brand is personal. It's personal before it becomes public. You have to tell your story, trust the process, and then make sure you're sharing with so much intention and originality. Thank you very much. So if we have questions, I'll be taking questions now. Do we have questions? Hi, Portia. You can.
Hi, thank you. That was a lovely presentation. And as you are saying, we are opening the floor for the questions. Does anyone have questions? Okay. So I would love to ask one question about the peak time, because I think you haven't touched it. Is it important to know when to post on your social media platform?
Okay, so yeah, it's very important. I'm sorry I didn't even touch that. So it's very important to know when to post, but it never really stays the same. So what you can do is you can go on your page, right? And then in the part where you see analytics, especially for Meta, you would see the peak times to post. So I cannot tell you generally that you should post by this time because it might not be like that in your time zone. It might not be that for your account. So before you can even get the peak time, you have to have been consistent, right? If you've been posting for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, the algorithm will study when your own audience show up more. For me now, I used to do morning before, and then I noticed that some people don't even check their phones in the morning. Mornings are chaotic. People wake up and then want to go to work and they're rushing everywhere. So I noticed that okay, evenings work better for me. So I post when I'm at the gym. I can post by 5. I can post by 6. Sometimes I can post by 8. I know someone that posts by 9, and then people still engage on that post. Some people, your target audience might be afternoons. Why? For example, you sell children stuff. Let's say you sell kids clothes and school bags and all of that. Your major target audience is probably going to be their moms, right? And their moms will be the ones that will be randomly scrolling on Instagram in the middle of the day because they want to just, check nice stuff for their kids, right? So it might tilt towards, 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. and then parents are there checking stuff while they are on break in the office. That might be your peak period. So I can't necessarily say this is a peak period to post, right? So you need to study it based on your brand, and there's a way to check it on analytics. I'm focusing on Instagram and this thing because it's like the major platform. TikTok also has it, but when you go up there, that's parts in your profile that shows professional dashboard, right? It takes you to views, interaction, new followers, content that you shared. It even shows you as far as best practices, right? So you know what to do and how to keep on doing that. I'm trying to find the exact location where you see it. So check your interaction. Your interaction will definitely tell you, the best time, the age range.
Okay. Yeah, I get. And then when it comes to the social media platforms, do you think is it safe to have similar posts throughout the social media platforms? Let's say you do the Instagram, and then as you know that there's setting that allows you to it will post automatically on Facebook. So do you think is it okay to post similar things across all? Let's say you do a reel on TikTok and then have it on Instagram and Facebook, or is there a way of actually making them look slightly different on what you post? And what advice can you have for all these social media platforms? Oh, I think we lost ABE.
Uh, so I think probably she's having a network issue. Should be expecting her back.
Yes. I'm trying to get her back. I saw that she sent hi Abby, are you back?
Hi, I'm sorry, my internet went off.
Okay.
Right, so yeah.
All right, sorry.
I don't know if you guys got my response.
Yes, we did get your response. I just asked another question
Okay.
about posting similar posts on all social media platforms. Let's say you're doing a reel on TikTok and then you post it on Instagram and Facebook. Is that okay, or
Okay, so yeah, it's definitely okay to share, but yeah, I understand where you're coming from in the sense that every platform has what works for them, right? I think
yeah?
that Instagram and TikTok show clear, similar traits, right, in their reels and all of that. So me, what I post on Instagram, I can post on TikTok, right, most of the time. But sometimes, TikTok is a very funny place. TikTok is somewhere where people just want to come and unwind, regardless of whether they're buying something or not. So it has to be it has to be fun. So if you know that that reel on Instagram is fun, it's okay to post on TikTok because that's what it caters to. If it's a day in my life, if it's a blog vlog, if it's a product showcase, they can both go up on every platform. I'm talking from the point of view of a business right now. So anything you can post on Instagram, you can likely post on TikTok. And then Instagram syncs with Facebook. You can likely post on Facebook. But Facebook audience is a little bit different. They're trickier. You see more of older people there. So you might want to be less playful. You might want to be more serious, but in a very sophisticated way. So I would advise that you depends on what you're selling. All these things don't have like a rule book. Depends on what you're selling, depends on your target audience. If you have a target audience that is serious, right, know how to cater for Facebook, but it can be very stressful, making diverse content for all the platforms, which I understand. So just try your best as much as possible to understand what you're selling. And maybe if you know that you want to do different versions of it, do like a very playful version for Instagram and TikTok, and then for maybe LinkedIn and Facebook, do a more serious version of it. Then Twitter and the rest could also just be text based. Don't stress yourself doing too much videos and all of that. You know that they're text based, so just try to make sure that you're a good writer. You're writing with hook, body, conclusion, and call to action in mind.
Okay. All right. That's great. Michelle, I see your hand up. Michelle?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Abby.
Hi, Marshall.
It's actually been a wonderful session, I must say. Before even asking a question, I just have to drive back to the first time we actually met. We met in the camp, and I think what actually got us connected was a flyer that someone did for a particular party, if you could remember. And you were like, "Guy, this flyer, who did this flyer? This flyer is what? It's not cool." And I was
Okay.
like, okay, so how do we go about it? And boom, you did something magical that actually flied very well. From then, I realized you are someone to hold very tight when it comes to the creative aspect of doing business and every other thing. So thank you very much for that. My question now is, you said something about sharing, more like telling people when you sell to them, tell them to use it and help you to repost, share, and all that.
Yeah.
Now, most people, when you try to tell them stuff like that, they want to take it more personal and feel like no, they just want it to be private. They don't need to take and help you to do that.
Okay.
Like most clients, sometimes they don't even want to even acknowledge or recommend you for people to see. So now, how do you manage such space when most of your clients don't really want to do that for you?
Okay, so I'll attack that from a perspective of, if you're doing that, that means you're doing, as a business, you should know that you're doing something wrong. If you're getting that response from, maybe if you're getting that response from 80% of people, friends, and clients, you're doing something wrong. Why do I say that? If you listen to when I said you build like some sort of following that does not just, like, it's not just followers, it's a community. People love you, and so because of that, they want to buy from you. They tap into what you're selling, right? If you're giving great service, I don't think that there's anybody that's seen great luxury service that would not want to, push it a little bit for you. The only person that might be, might have an issue sharing your stuff is maybe if the person is a competitor and feels threatened, or somebody who is maybe a friend that feels like he or she is in a competition with you, right? But if you're doing great stuff, right, I can tell you that most of my jobs are on referral. There's somebody on this call right now that referred me to a client. You can see him there. His name is Afolabi, the guy wearing the black tie. He has referred me to a client, and he has not even used me. He just spoke to me randomly somewhere. And after that had subsequent conversations, and then thought about me when he saw a gap. So you have to get to a point where you're pushing yourself so much that people see why you're doing it, and they can see the passion behind it. And then when they now see the service or the product, they can also see that this is top notch, right? So that's why you see that it's possible for someone to come and then sell a pen this pen, and they tell you that this pen is, 100,000 naira, a rich person will buy that pen. The same pen, someone else will come and sell it and then sell it for 100 naira, right? Because they're struggling, right? They haven't put so much value. If there's a way you sell that pen to a rich man that makes the rich man feels like I'm selling class, that's the difference between all these cars that we see. Some of them have similar functionality, but there's just a little bit of touch that moves an affordable car to being a luxury car. Same thing as wine, right? How do people sell alcohol that tastes so bitter and they sell it so expensive? Right. So the point is you have to build that trust. And then if you are struggling with that, then maybe you should try asking your friends or asking for genuine reviews from people. What are the things that I've done that you don't like? Why can't you refer me? If you're asked to refer me, would you be able to refer me and be able to justify it and say, okay, I trust this guy, he's going to deliver? If they have their doubts, right, then maybe those are the things that you need to work on. So don't focus on the numbers, focus on building a community. That's still my response to that. But at the same time, I can get where you're coming from because some people can be really crazy. Like me, now, if I get those kind of messages, I just pick them out. If I can ask, I ask, oh, what am I doing wrong? I know I've gotten that before. So trust me when I understand that you will get those kind of comments, but it shouldn't be your majority. It shouldn't be 80 out of 100 people telling you that. It could be 20. If it's 20, I wouldn't be so bothered. I would ask them, right? But if they're not making sense to me, trust me, I wouldn't even send them a broadcast or ask them to repost or refer me ever again. I don't stress. So maybe if that doesn't answer your question, you could always send me a text and we could talk more extensively about the context of what you're asking, the business you do. Let me see what you've done and why it's backfiring, basically. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Abby. That was a wonderful one. Thanks.
All right.
So if we have anyone that still wants to ask questions, you can still do that. Like, you just raise your hand up and we'll give you the floor to ask questions. We have a creative with us, a professional, a CEO here, and she have actually duplicated a lot to us. So definitely, I know each and every one of us here have a business, something they're doing that they need to, correct some things and actually grow better. So it's a floor we have now to express ourselves. This little time just with us, we can actually use it to gain a lot. So feel free to ask questions, guys. Okay, I see you, Afolabi William.
Hello, hi, good evening, everyone. This to be here. Sorry, I joined so late. Must have missed it my time now. So I just have like a question, open floor for Habitu or anyone that can answer. So I'm looking at the market segment targeting high-end individuals. So I've been to a couple of classes and they say, oh, high net worth individuals are not on Instagram, they're not on Facebook. So I'd just like to ask a question on how do you do subtle marketing targeting high net worth individuals? Is there a particular Facebook or Instagram ad filter that allows me to specifically target high net worth individual? And I'm not just saying just using the location and say, oh, I want to target audiences in Bahana Island only. I'm looking at a more direct filter that lets me pinpoint those high net worth individuals or target those high net worth individuals. So yeah, that my question really is how do we target high net worth individuals?
Okay. If I get you right, you're starting a business, right? Why do you want it to be subtle again? Remind me. You're trying to target them in a subtle way, right?
You know what they say about like high net worth products?
You don't see them
Say like
anyhow. I get it.
yes.
I get it. I get it. So apart from, so I would advise that you do a lot of physical marketing. So you have to position yourself to attend conferences that they attend, which I know that you do already. But another thing you could do is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is their spot. That's where they are. You see the reason you are even better at LinkedIn than I am, right? So that's where they are. But you might have to now put money into LinkedIn ad because I know their ads are way more expensive than the usual Meta and TikTok ads. So you have to run LinkedIn ads, target the right audience, right? Another thing I do when I'm trying to get people, like I said before, you see me attending events, you see me volunteering for stuff at events of people that I already have in mind. It's very intentional. When you see me go somewhere and very active there, there's a reason. I want to meet someone, I want to talk to someone, I want to network with a particular person there. Same thing as when I want to, for example, now I did this thing where I volunteered like last month because I wanted to meet a particular CEO. And then he came to my DM and was like, oh, okay, sorry. So he came to my event and then saw that sorry, my train of thought lost. Okay, I'm going back. So he came to me and said, oh, okay, you do this. Oh, okay, that's nice. Do you want to do full time? If you ever need to do full time, text me. I had to tell him, oh, I freelance, but when I need full time and I'm ready, I'll text you. That has already positioned. So you have to give something to these people to get their attention. I think that's just the principle that works. These people have met a lot of people. What you're about to sell to them, trust me, multiple people might have sold it to them. So for you to be able to sell, sometimes you have to give a part of yourself. You have to, before you start even giving value, show that you're useful to them, right? And that if they don't even patronize you, they might know someone that wants to, and they do that. So I think you should do LinkedIn ads, right? It's very important. And as well, attend conferences, position yourself in situations where you volunteer or get to be a mentor for these people. That just increases your network. Basically, I think that's the best answer I can give at the moment. But I can't say that any ad is specific to target high end because it can be very open. You might be lucky to find one out of like 100 leads or two out of 100 leads. But yeah, that's pretty much what I can say.
Thank you. Thank you. You did answer.
Okay. So in addition to that, Mr. Falabi, like she said, sometimes she just take herself to a particular place to her targeted audience because that's what she's looking for. So I can actually say that's great too, because while I'm doing photography, I look for every means that will take me into those big guy spots. For example, meet the senators and all that. I try to find myself in national assemblies to see how getting, even though getting the pass will be very difficult. But at that moment, I'll just squeeze myself and enter. And when I get there, I try to, take one or two pictures of them, make connection, pray that they just, accept what I want to offer. And before you know, they say, okay, go do this frame for me. Immediately, they'll give you their contact, either their business card, or they'll just punch their contact in your phone directly. That way, you have connected yourself to one. And if you're able to deliver, that person is now also stretch the connections to another person. So in all this, for you to actually get those kind of clients, those kind of connect, you need to always take yourself to where they are most times. Like take yourself to where they are. Because those people, they don't really move around. Even on social media, it's not like there's soft social media more often. No. But they're just there, seated somewhere, waiting for you to meet them with what you have. So I think that way also you can achieve them.
Thank you very much. You answered my question. Thank you.
So do we have any other person that wants to ask questions? Well, it's been a wonderful evening. It's been a wonderful evening. Abitoka, thank you very much for this one. Like I want to use Pidgin English to say this. You do this one well. You get. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
hope we all achieved something. We all learned from yesterday to today, and we hopefully this is going to help us boom in all our businesses and whatever we are doing. Whatever information you get from here, anything you learn, make use of it. She said something. I just had to go and drop that on my status. Like she said, create, believe, and share. Like wow, those three words are actually a bomb. If you think it very well, if you are creative and you think it's great, believe in what you're creating and share it. it's going to fly. So we should do that. We should do that. And for more updates, and also if you want to get any information from her, you want to talk to her, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll actually connect you to Abby Talker. She's a great person. She is. Thank you very much, everyone. Sorry, Portia is not active now. She just had a little bit of bad network issues. So just taking over the space for now. I want to say thank you very much, Abigail, and we should look forward to having another workshop like this. We should have a podcast. Like I was even thinking of something that probably we'll share it to the group and we'll dedicate it together. We should be having things like this, and if each and every one of us also have something like this, you can easily. Okay, I think Portia is back. Okay, we'll see you, Portia.
Okay. Thank you. I missed a bit the last part. I guess this is now when we are closing. And thank you for your time, Abby. Thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. And I'll be sharing, as you said, that if anyone needs help, we can share your number. So I'll be sharing the number. We have a WhatsApp group. If you don't mind joining it, it will be a pleasure because we'll be having different presenters. We like learning from each other. So you can follow us, Peace Motion Alliance on Instagram, and we also have a Facebook account and also a LinkedIn, same name, Peace Motion Alliance. And don't forget to also share with your friends and let them join into our WhatsApp group, where we'll be sharing the opportunities and everything that may help anyone in the business sphere. Thank you so much for a wonderful evening. It's been a great evening today. Bye. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night. Bye.
Asante.